My name is Jong-woo Han. I am the president of Korean War Legacy Foundation, which has more than 1,500 interviews of Korean War veterans, not only from the United States, but also other 21 countries, including Great Britain, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, India, Thailand, Colombia, that participate in the Korean War. We are doing this because it's been a long time. It's been known as a forgotten war. So we want to preserve your memory and honor your service as a Korean War veteran. But at the same time, we're going to make this interview into curricular resources so that teachers can use in their classroom when they talk about the Korean War, and so that students learn about the war that you fought for almost 70 years ago. It's my great pleasure and honor to meet you, sir. And thank you for sharing your story with us. Please introduce yourself. What is your name?
My name is Mert Lassere, and my nickname, they call me Mert. I think everyone knows me by Mert. They don't know my real name. But I've been having that since I was a kid going to school.
So what is your real first name?
My first name is Lloyd.
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 But you are known as a Mert.
Known as Mert, yeah.
Okay, so you will be the Mert today.
Right, yeah.
Can you spell your last name, please?
Lassere.
And could you pronounce it again?
Lassere.
Lassere. And that looks like, sounds like a French origin.
It is very French, yeah.
So tell me about your ascendants, your grandparents and so on. Where they are from?
My great-great-grandfather was from Vassary, and he lived to be 101 years old. And when we were kids, we used to go over there, and he had chickens. And he used to always tell me, he used to always like to see me run around. And he always said, all the chickens you catch, you can bring home.
Mm-hmm.
So when all the time we was over there, I was running after chickens. Sometimes I'd bring 3 or 4 of them home. After they knew me, they were kind of wild. But other than that, we really enjoyed the family, you know. We've always had gatherings ever since we was kids.
Mm. So what is your birthday, sir?
My birthday?
Yeah.
May 26, 1931.
1931. So now you are 91 years old?
91 years old.
You're going to be 92 soon?
I'm 90 years old, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be 91 in May.
Oh, that's right, yes. You look like a 60-year-old man.
Oh, thank you.
What is the secret? Do you drink whiskey every night or cognac?
I drink a little bit, not like I used to, but as you get older, you cut down a little bit, you know, but I had my share.
Uh-huh. You look very young, sir.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. And where were you born?
I was born over in Algiers.
Could you spell it? Spell it.
Algiers. Algiers. That's over in Algiers, in Louisiana, right?
In Louisiana.
Right. That's the little west bank of the New Orleans.
And tell me about family background when you were growing up. Your parents, your mom, your dad, and your siblings.
Okay, my dad was from Vassary,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom was from Chacahula. That's Chacahula, Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my dad was something like about 11 years old, and his dad was my Uncle John, and my daddy was a little 2 or 3 years younger than him. Well, railroad used to run in the front house where they wound up buying land, and him and my dad and his daddy came in like to see over the land, because there was the other oldest one was the other oldest brother was a little sickly, so him and my dad were pretty close together, and they came in together as kids on a railroad.
For the audience who are listening to this interview, Mert is referring him, and him is Don Lassere, his cousin, and they were in the Korean War at the same time in the same place. So Don is listening to this interview, okay? So, what about your siblings? How many brothers and sisters did you
I had
have?
2 sisters.
That's it. So
That's
you're
it.
the only son.
I was the baby of the family, right?
And you were born in 1931, so 1929 was Great Depression.
Right.
Must be hard for you, or how was it living in that era?
Well, put it this way. Everybody was alike, and during the Depression, it's just everybody was the same. Like, you know, you didn't know whether he was rich or poor. 'Cause, well, his dad and my grandfather and them used to have a little farm, and they grew kind of all the vegetables you ever want to eat. So we really never had no problem, really.
I see. Tell me about the school you went through.
I went to a Catholic school, St. Joseph. And from there, I went to Brother Martin. I went over there for 2 years. I got tired across the river, and I went to Berman.
So when did you graduate high school?
I didn't graduate. I was
You did not?
going in my senior year, and I wound up quitting school, and I wound up working for the railroad.
Railroad.
Yes.
What was the name of high school that you quit?
Martin Berman High School.
Could you spell it?
Martin Behrman.
B-E-H...
Rman.
Martin Bachman.
Berman.
Berman
Martin Berman.
High School. And when did you quit? What year did you quit?
Ooh, 1948, I believe, something. I think. I'm not too sure.
So you began to work in the railroad.
I worked at the railroad.
What
yes.
did you do there?
I was a carpenter apprentice.
Carpenter.
Carpenter apprentice, yes. That was the title. We did everything.
You did everything.
We did everything.
That's right.
As an
So
apprentice, you worked so many months here and so many months there and different little things.
yeah. And let me ask this question. When you were in high school, did you learn anything about Korea?
No,
Not at all.
no.
How about map? Did you know where Korea was in the map?
Well, we seen, on the maps, but other than that, we never thought anything about it. Because that didn't start till early part of 1950, really.
So you never thought that you could be a Korean War veteran?
No. Because we wound up joining the reserves. We got the Marine Reserves, and we joined the Marine Reserves, and we went to a summer camp. Then I think it was about maybe 2 or 3 months later, we were called on active duty.
While we were in Little Creek, Virginia, that was the summer camp. While we
Yeah.
were there, the Korean War broke out. We were making a landing off a ship like Marines make the landings on
Practice amphibious landing.
Okay.
and all the sailors would say,
Yeah.
"You guys better pack your gear, you're going to Korea." Where's Korea? Nobody knew where Korea was.
So you didn't know anything about Korea before you went to Korea?
No.
Have you been back to Korea?
No, I haven't.
You haven't back to
No.
in Korea. Okay, so when were you drafted or did you enlist?
We enlisted to the reserves, and then we got called on active duty.
I see. So when was it?
That was in June of 1950.
June the 7th, 1950.
So that's the beginning of the Korean War.
That was right. That's
Oh,
right.
my goodness.
That's when we got called in.
And where did you go get the basic military training?
We went to camp. We went to San Diego with boot camp. Then from there we left and went to Camp Pendleton at Tent Camp 2 for infantry combat training.
So you were called to serve in the Marine?
Do what?
Was it Marine or Army?
That's Marine Corps.
Marine Corps.
Don't say Army.
That was my biggest mistake in my life. Sorry about, sir.
That's no problem.
Semper Fi. Semper Fi. When did you leave to Korea from where?
Well, we left from San Diego, and that was in yeah, it was sometime around February or March after we got out of training.
When 1951?
In 1951, yes. And we were classed as the 7th draft. Then the brigade was the first 3 or 4 drafts. Then after that, that's when they had the chosen, and we got there right after the chosen. When the 7th draft, we got over there April 1st.
So you left from San Diego in February of 1951.
Right.
Where did you arrive in Korea?
We arrived. We went into Busan, but we landed in Gimpo Airport. Gimpo, well, it wasn't an airport. It was nothing but a strip, and that's where we landed at Gimpo.
What do you mean landed by air?
No.
By air. We went by ship to Busan.
Uh-huh.
And from Busan, we went into, first of all, we went to Japan, to Kobe, Japan.
Yeah.
From Japan, that's when we flew into the Busan airport.
You flew into Busan airport.
Right.
And then you flew to Gimpo again?
No, we went to
No.
You went to Busan by ship, right?
We went by ship, yes.
And then you flew into Gimpo.
We went to Kobe, Japan, and we unloaded over there. And from there, then we flew into Busan, and that's where Gimpo Airport was,
Yeah.
I think.
Yep. Good. You still have a very good memory. And what was your unit at the time?
My unit was Baker Company, 1st Battalion, 5th Marines, 1st Marine Division.
5th Marine Regiment.
Right.
And then 1st Marine.
1st Marine Division.
What was your specialty?
My specialty, well, I was what they call a grunt, the ground troop, and I was in the 60 mortars. And in the reserves, I was in the mortar section over here. So when I went to Korea, they automatically put me in the 60 mortars. But I went all through camp as a BA Airman. Mm-hmm. That's a Browning automatic rifle. I was assigned to that, and I went overseas as a BA Airman. So when I got over there, they put me into the 60 mortars. And the first thing they told me, don't make too many friends, close friends, because your lifespan over here was anywhere between 2 to 3 months.
Oh.
That was your lifespan.
Oh, damn.
So I said, well, I guess we survived.
So you told me that you are the only son, right?
I'm the only son.
So when you were called to serve, okay, for the Korean War, did you tell your parents about it?
Yes, they did. I did.
And what did they say?
Well, there's nothing they could say because we were calling active duty. But right after World War II, they were still censoring our mail because you try to tell them about where you are. 'Cause actually, we didn't know where the hell we were. We just go drifting along with the rest of the guys, you know?
Yeah.
But then when we find out some place we go, and whenever I write a letter to my mom and my sisters, things would be blanked out. So, and him and I, we used to trade mail back and forth with our parents, you know? And that's how we got to know what was going on back home.
So what were you thinking when you knew that you're going to go to the war, to the Korean War, which you didn't know anything about the country, right?
Right.
What were you thinking? Were you afraid?
Yeah, you kind of get scared, but after a while, you get used to it, you know, and just like another ordinary day doing your job. That's it. Yeah. But
So when you
sure you get scared? I guess you do.
when you, for the first time, you saw Korea in 1951, around April, right?
April 1st, we got
You
there.
saw Busan and you saw Gimpo.
Right.
Tell me honestly, straight, what was the image of Korea What was the image of Korea? When you go around after that, when you arrive, maybe you didn't have much time to look around in Busan, but later on you
No,
saw Korea. How was it?
Well, that's all we could see was mountains in there, and we did get over there, and it had snow. It snowed that day, and we got over, I guess, to a company where we were assigned to. It was something like about maybe 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning because they were getting ready to serve chow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was about 2 days later we wound up going up on our front lines because every time you went in reserve, you always picked up new people. People got wounded or people got killed or got out the company, and we were like replacements, you know. But other than that, that's trooping stomped up and down the mountains. That's it.
What about Gimpo? Did you see Gimpo?
Kimpo?
Yeah.
Well, the only thing we saw in Kimpo was airstrip, and the planes we went over on. We flew into Kimpo. We were in like transport planes because we sat on parachutes in a little thing, and we hooked up lines and everything else. And I don't know if Donna was on the same plane I was on, but we had gone over there. We had a little motor problem, so we lagged behind, and the pilot told us either we had to turn around and come back. We're halfway there, or either go all the way. So they decided to go all the way, and when we landed in Kimpo, everybody else was all gone, and we got out the planes, and we started getting a little sniper fire. And the airstrip was, if I remember, was like a mud, but they had like sheet metal thing with holes, and it was like turtleback, and they had ditches on the side. Good thing they didn't have ditches because when we got out the plane, we was under sniper fire, and we had rifles, but we never had no ammo because they wouldn't let us carry live ammo in the plane with us. So I don't know if Don was in the same plane I was in, but we did kind of separate us a little bit because they thought we were brothers, you know? Because our serial number is just one digit different than the other one.
Just one digit.
So, one digit, that's right.
Oh my goodness. What is your serial number?
What was my serial number?
Yeah.
1108 736.
1108
736.
08
736.
736.
And his was 5.
1108 736 and his 5.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
One difference.
Right.
One digit difference.
Right.
Huh. So from Gimpo, where did you go?
We went to Busan. We formed we was in a perimeter, formed a perimeter around Busan.
No. You arrived in Busan, went to Gimpo, and from Gimpo you went to Punchbo?
No, Punchbowl was a little later than that.
Then where did
later
you go?
On, yeah.
From Gimpo, where did you go?
It was,
Yes,
you mind if I-
Yeah. Go ahead.
At that time, when we hit Kimpo, they assigned us to our different squads. Like, he went to the mortars with B-15, and I went to the machine guns with B-15.
Mm-hmm.
That's Baker Bandit, Baker Company,
Right.
the Marines. We were there, we started going up, and the
Go ahead.
Chinese had came in and they had their summer offensive.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to, remember, we had to go there. They took us, we went far through this town, the town was all burning.
Yeah.
And then we had to walk the railroad.
Where was it?
From Kimpo.
Is it north of Gimpo?
It was north of Kimpo. It was, I don't know what the name of the village was, or town was.
I know.
It was all on fire.
It was pretty
And
close to 38.
To avoid the Chinese troops, we had to walk through the town, we made a big circle through the town, and then we had to walk a railroad track.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a pitch black at night, and they kept on telling us, don't make no noise, but you got the canteen and your rifle, and carry the ammo cans and all, everything shaking and making noise. Several people, when we walked over a railroad bridge, several guys missed the cross ties and broke their legs, and they had to be carried off. And then we got off the bridge there, in daylight there, there was tanks waiting on the road there, firing point blank at the hills, because the Chinese were all on these hills, and we had to walk past the tanks to get out of the trap.
After that, what happened to you? Where did you go?
Well, after we got into MG, they had a little river going across, and that's where the tanks used to go. And
So that's the Imjin River.
yeah, right.
Yeah, Imjin River.
And that's where we stayed there for a while until we got organized and we wound up leaving. Where did we go? I don't know. I don't remember.
So then from there, you told me about the punch bowl, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me about the punch bowl. When were you there? When were you there?
We were on the lines and getting ready. Well, we didn't know it at the time, but they were starting to group to get together, and that was a big move, the punch bowl, but because the other side was the high ground, and he was in the bowl section, and that's where he got hit. And that was about maybe 3 or 4 days later. That's when they started moving to the punch bowl, getting ready to go to the assault in the punch bowl. And we were first Marines were the first ones to go through there.
So what happened in the punch bowl?
We were setting up for the punch bowl. We didn't know exactly when we were going to jump off or anything else, but we knew it was getting close because every time we start making moves on the line and start getting together, we used to get a lot of incoming.
Incoming from
Incoming
whom?
artillery
Chinese or North Korean?
North Koreans, I think Chinese were mixed up. Well, at the time, it was mostly Chinese because North Koreans,
Right, that was mostly Koreans there.
Mostly Koreans there, huh?
Mostly Koreans there. The punch bowl on the north rim of the punch bowl was the main control of the North Koreans.
Okay. Yep, that must be true. So, how close were you to them? Like 100 meters or 100 yards?
We was on the front lines. They would come up, and we was right there with it because I was in the mortars, and our section was always in the front of the line. We wasn't on the back of the line. We was always in the front. We was in anywhere between 20, 25 yards in the front of the line. So we were sitting out there by ourselves.
So you were able to see the North Koreans?
Oh, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That close?
Oh, yeah.
You must be scared to death.
Yeah, they were close
you?
to us. In fact, a couple of times we was short of ammo, and he could tell you that because they limited us what we could use and what we couldn't use because the supplies couldn't get to us because we was on our ways on the move all the time, and they limited us what we could shoot. And
Really?
you had to be very careful not to go and waste ammo because we always ran short of people. I don't know about the machine gun section. We always run short. We were supposed to have something like 7 men to a squad. We wound up sometime with 3 or 4. That's how they were getting to us a little bit like that. So we never had the ammo for people to carry up. We had to wait for, we used to call them chickaberry trains to bring up ammo and food for us. And sometimes we'd be out of food for 1 or 2 days without eating, or supplies, whatever you had. And they had transport planes that come over and they'd drop, instead of dropping the supplies where once they had the wind up into the valleys, everything would go across. So we was out of ammo and out of food. We was running short of supplies. Actually, we wasn't really trained for this because we went over there. We never had no winter gear. And at the time, first winter in around October, November, we'd get 35 and 40 below zero, and we wasn't prepared for that. The only thing we had was little light coats and a pair of leather boondockers, what we call them boondockers. We never had any thermal boots until later on, but
you are talking about 1951. It's
I was at 51.
year later the breakout of the Korean War, and still you short of those winter gear, and you still have to be really preserve your things to eat and
exactly right.
ammos too.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No.
May I interject something?
Sure.
We stole more material from the Army because the Army got everything and the Marines didn't get nothing.
Damn.
We had to scrounge.
We scrounged.
Oh boy.
Remember one time there we asked for a couple of bananas or something like that, they wouldn't give us a banana. So we wound up stealing the whole damn
Couple stalks.
stalks of them.
That's another war in between.
The Army and the Marines, we never did get along.
So, were there any dangerous moments that you might have been killed or might been wounded?
Yes.
Tell me
Right.
detail. When was it?
I don't
Where?
know.
Was it in Punchbowl?
Yeah, I was in a punch bowl, and I had a young kid that just got in my outfit. That's all I knew him by his first name, his second name. I didn't know anything about the kid. He was 18 years old, and I think he was with us for about maybe 3 weeks. And that was getting ready to go into the punch bowl, and like I'm saying, we used to get a lot of incoming artillery.
Mm-hmm.
And from being in the mortar section down below, we had a little phone in case anything happens. We had a firing mission, but we didn't like to fire at nighttime because you give your position away on the lines. And I told him, I said, well, you take the second watch, and I'll take the first watch, and I'll put him with somebody else because I didn't know how he would act or whatever, and getting into combat. And I relieved him. No, he relieved me. Excuse me. He relieved me, and I got into the hole. And just as I was starting to get in my sleeping bag, a round came in. It's early in the morning, just about daybreak, and hit the hole right where I was at, and killed him instantly.
Oh.
And he caved in our bunker, and I had like a concussion. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't want to leave my outfit, but it's something like about 3 weeks. I couldn't hear anything. I didn't know where I was. I was like in La La Land, you know. And
So if he didn't relieve you, you might have been killed there.
I would have definitely got killed.
Oh my goodness.
And the sad part of it was when he got hit like that, kid never bled. I guess the fragments of the shell just cauterized him, and he had a hole in his back on his left hand side. I could put my two hands in him, tore all the back of him out, and that was a little scary. But anyhow.
Any other occasion where that you might have been killed?
Do what now?
Any other occasion where that you might have been killed or wounded?
Yes. I came, in fact, to tell you the truth, I served under 3 officers. Mr. Abels, Lieutenant Abels, he got killed on a tank, like Donald was saying. And the next guy I had was Mr. Fisher. And he was left over from World War II, the last part of World War II. And I was in the 2nd squad, which I was close to headquarters. Mm-hmm. And I kind of knew exactly what was going on before anybody else, because we was right there with the officers and the company commander, you see. So anyhow, we were relieving some outfit, and we was on to. That was right after Donald had gone by then. It was Hill 907, and I was talking to Mr. Fisher because he was asking me. He said, "You think we should move the guns or put them in the same place?" I said, "I would move them because they know all our position where we were. You know, to go put a gun in the same place where they left because they knew all the positions." I said I'd move the number 1 gun out, maybe 40, 50, 100 yards, and I'd move the 3rd gun out the same way. I'll move them in, 2nd gun, the middle class. We'd move around different things, and incoming artillery. And I was standing there talking to him. Maybe from here to down from him, maybe they're close together. We was talking about different positions to put the gun. And a round came in and hit the tree, and which saved me. It killed him outright. It hit him up into the heart, tore the back of him out, his back. And which saved me, I guess the same piece that killed him cut a sapling to save me from getting killed.
So you are a very lucky man.
Yes, I was. And we wound up going onto the hill, and since all the other guns were knocked out, the second gun was the only guns they had left over. Out of 21 people, I think we had something like 5 people that was left in the mortar section. And we wound up going on patrol, because every time they sent a patrol out, it was either machine gun section went out or in the mortar section went out. That was normal combat training, yeah. So we wound up going the hill. I think we had something like about anywhere between 27 and 28 people on patrol going up there, and there was 4 of us that walked off the hill. And I had a kid that was sitting on the side of me, a guy by the name of Jacobs, went all through boot camp, and he was in the machine gun section, and he got shot through the butt. And he was kind of teed off because he shot through his wallet. It busted his wallet all up. I said, good thing he had a bigger butt than me, because I'd have got it too.
What was your rank at the time?
My rank at the time was a buck sergeant.
Buck sergeant.
Yes.
And when did you leave Korea?
I left, well, I tell you what, we was in reserve area, and we were supposed to get replacements coming in, and I was getting ready to leave because my time was up. I served over there 11 months and 19 days in Korea, and they moved up on line. I wasn't supposed to go up on lines because I was getting ready to come home in rotation. But when they moved up the line, never had nobody replace me, so I had to wind up going back up the line. So I wound up going back over there, and our lieutenant at the time, Mr. Baker, after Mr. Fisher got killed, we had another guy, Lieutenant Mr. Baker, and he was from Texas, and he said, look, you have to come up on the lines with us. I said, oh, man, come on. He says, well, you have to. He said, we have nobody else to replace me. So he said, y'all don't have to stand any watch or anything. So we wound up going to the hill. So I think we had 7 of us getting ready to leave to come back home. So they put us in a bunker on a reverse part of the hill. So what we did, we took a lot of sand and put a lot of loose sand and sandbags on top of the bunker where we were. And we had 7 of us in a bunker. So that morning, when we was getting ready to get off the hill, we started getting incoming coming in. And a shell hit into the sand, and it didn't go off because it must have been just coming over the hill and hit it into the sand and stopped. Well, man, by that time it hit there, because the shell was, it was a fairly big shell. I don't know if it was a mortar or artillery, I don't know. But when the sand started coming to the bunker, and I said, oh, Lord, I said, I don't know what the hell was going on. But anyhow, after we stayed there about 10 or 15 minutes, we finally got out, went and looked, and there was this shell sitting up on top of the bunker.
Wow.
It didn't go off.
Wow.
And we were lucky. If it went off, it'd have killed 7 of us in that hole. But we had the ordnance came in, and they got the thing all and moved it on down. So the next day, we went back down the hill. And I got off the front lines. Something I can remember as long as I live, and as long as I still have my right mind. I got off the hill on March the 17th, which is St. Patrick's Day. And I left Korea on March the 19th, which is St. Joseph's Day. And that's when I got out of Korea.
1952.
1952.
While
I
you
got
were,
out there March of 1952.
while you are there, have you been to Seoul or any other Korean city?
Yeah, we went into Seoul, not after I got out of Korea, no. While I was in Korea, we wound up forming a perimeter around Seoul. Mm-hmm. And I have some pictures of it before and after.
So, can you show the picture to us?
Sure.
Yeah, you will have that album. Just sit there, and we'll give you the album. But did you take that picture?
Yes, I had 3 cameras over there, and
Were you there as a picnic?
Huh?
Did you have 3 cameras?
Yeah, I had camera. I had 3 of
It
them.
was
over there.
war, not a picnic.
I lost some of them. I had another guy that was taking pictures. A guy by the name of Ed Barker, and he'd take pictures, send the film to my mom and dad, and we'd get them all fixed up again. And that's how we swapped back and forth.
Can you show some pictures?
Sure. Here's a picture of Donald and I right up in here. I don't know if you can see it.
We'll scan the picture, but so left is Don?
The left is Don, yeah, and now I'm on the right hand side.
Yeah. Could you put it back? Yeah, right there. Okay. And so 2 of you were in the same place at the same time.
Right.
And you guys were able to meet together.
Yes.
What were you thinking when Don was there? What did you talk?
Well, I don't think we had too much time to think about anything, really. But anyhow,
we took the mail, my mail and his mail, and we swapped.
All right, so Mert,
if you want, here's a picture of a motorsection I was in. If you want that.
yeah. Could
And
you put?
I'm the only one. The guy said, "Oh, you make a good target." I was in the T-shirt.
So you are the one with the white T-shirt.
Right.
Ah. You knew how to stand out.
No, this caught me by surprise.
You were able to go to Seoul? Did you see Seoul?
Seoul was destroyed, really. Then his daughter, she took some kind of a taekwondo or something like that, and they wound up going to Seoul, and I have a picture of them where we were around there. It's almost the same thing that we saw. We informed, because I even told her, I said, geez, man, like where we were sitting up on the hill, looking down to Seoul. Seoul was like into a valley, like, the town.
How about people? How do they live at the time? Did you see anything?
No, everything was destroyed now.
So now you know Korea is one of the 10th biggest metropolitan city in the world. Did you see the picture now?
Yeah, I seen that. I have a picture of it later on that Donald's daughter took
Korea.
in Korea, in Seoul. She went over there for.
So when you left March 19th of 1952,
everything was destroyed there.
destroyed, right?
Right.
Had you ever imagined that Korea would become like this today?
No.
Why not? Why not?
Because I thought they were just wiped out. That's all.
That's all.
They were just almost completely destroyed South Korea.
You never been back to Korea since then?
No, never would think of that.
Now it's the 10th largest economy in the world and 6th largest trading partner to the United States. How about that?
That's great.
Huh? Right?
That's great. They're good people.
Yeah.
Good people.
Why do you say that?
Because they treat us fairly, and we were the only, from World War II, Korea and Vietnam, everything is World War II and Vietnam, nothing about Korean War. And Korea is the only people who do things for the veterans. Vietnam, nothing. And when we came home, we was forgotten war or police action and different little things like that, Because when I went back to work for the railroad, guys kid me on, tease on me all the time. I always had a habit of carrying a pocket knife since I was carpenter doing railroad work, and the guys used to kidding me. And I asked him, I just got back from overseas, and I asked him in a nice way, I don't appreciate telling me this, you know? So, and he kind of left going. About 2-3 weeks later, he come back and started again, and I guess I started thinking about it, and I just kind of blew my top, and I grabbed him, and I shoved him up against the wall, and I reached in my pocket, and I tell you what, I don't know if I was kind of, I got a little bit berserk. I think I'd have killed the guy. I think I would have cut him. But it just so happened that I didn't have a knife with him. But after that, he talked to my dad. My dad worked for the railroad too. He said, "Man, your son is crazy, man." My dad said, "That boy just come back from overseas." And he just got to me. And I just lost control of myself. And I apologized to him after that, after I calmed down a little bit, but that was it, you know.
Okay, so you told me you didn't know anything about Korea before you left for Korea.
No.
Now you know Korea.
Right. A little bit about it, yeah.
What do you think about this whole transformation? Are you proud of to be the Korean War veteran?
Yes, very proud.
Why?
Because we were forgotten. And every time we have a veterans organization going on, they always forget about the Korean War. And I went over there and I talked to the guy after that, and I said, everything is Vietnam and Korea, and the only thing you hear about is the chosen. If you wasn't in the chosen, you were nothing.
What would you say to the Korean people?
Well, what I say to them, I think they're very prosperous people, and I think they kind of, as a unit, sticks together. I mean, that's what I look at. That's the way I see it.
Mm-hmm. Any other big story you missed?
Now, let Donald tell you something. I'm just tired of talking.
All right. So, Mert, thank you again, sir, for your fight and for your honorable service for the Korean people.
Thank you.
And because of your service, Korea is now strongest ever in their economy, 10th largest economy in the world, but not just about the economy. Their democracy is very, very aggressive and strong, even stronger than the United States in some sense. So you should be proud of your service as a Korean War veteran.
I am. That's why I stand up and say things about it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.